Saturday morning. Hopefully you're tuned in. Thanks for coming around. Coffee in hand. Maybe you got your coffee. It's nice that the weather is finally cooling down here, especially out here in this neck of the woods or neck of the sand. Maybe is more appropriate. Not where my mom lives though. Man, she has got it made in the shade. Uh, Beautiful weather, beautiful greenery. She's up there in Northern California. Beautiful, beautiful area. I go up and visit her, and I got to tell you, I don't want to leave whenever I go. It's so beautiful up there and absolutely gorgeous. So as you can see, you know what? Since we risked it last week, if you didn't catch last week's show, go back and watch it. We risked it and we brought out a long piece, and we got another one out here, sort of a little bit of a getaway. Stay tuned and you'll know what we're talking about. But anyway, also, before we get started with the comments and everything, a little bit of wanted to show it off a little bit. Um, if you missed last week's show or you have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm bringing this out right now, you need to stay tuned to the show. Um, Here it is. I actually did a little bit more work to it, as you guys saw how I basically made the buffers to hold this in place, because it is technically a frame that used to have the pin to attach it as a two-piece, but I removed that when I had the Buffalo Brothers grips a long time ago. But yeah, here are the final copies of the Rooster Shooter grips that are done by Cimarron, or Cimarron imported them. They had them done. Mine, again, like actually watched the recent video. It's really old now, but of the guy that I guess owns Cimarron or started Cimarron or whatnot. He was talking about Bar S, the guy, True Ivory, I think the name of the company is, or something like that, and how the guy was making this stuff out of in sheets, cookie sheets, and then carving them down and all that. So really cool. I didn't know he was doing it that way. But here's my copy of the ones that he did. Obviously, there was some things, the details on it that I wanted to do that was somewhat difficult to do, which is not, I don't know how the light would catch it. You really got to see it in person. But sometimes the light will catch it and you can actually see the edges really kind of almost translucent in a sense. And I noticed that on some of the stuff in the movies and everything. And obviously, as we know, the Duke himself, his grips were made out of like Bakelite or Catalan or something like that, rather. But anyway, there's the final fitment of them and put them together and everything. I had to drill this screw further down. It wasn't catching, and just basically taking a bit and driving it further down, throwing it on the back end of the Wilton, and just tapping it through. So anyway, there it is. I figured I would show that to you for those of you that actually stayed through the full length of the last week's show. All right, let's go ahead and read through some comments here. We got Jeffrey Richardson, absolutely gorgeous rifle, great piece, great big piece of history. Yes, it's a very massive rifle. It is. When I got a hold of it for the show and everything, I was like, wow, this thing is like, like, wow, and it's heavy. It really is. I guess that big chunk of brass receiver, and which is quite large, and also that two-piece barrel. The magazine tube on it is not like, if you, I don't know if you've ever taken out or taken apart a lever action, especially in some of those old Winchesters. The magazine tube is really a thin piece of metal that's rolled up, and to my understanding, like how they make a cigar, the cigar casing, really, it's just rolled up like that, and it's not very, it's not a very thick piece of metal. So interesting, and it's easy to screw those up, or if you're just above a wannabe gunsmith and just start taking things and wrenching on things and hacksaw jobs and stuff like that, you've ruined a lot of things. Yet you complain about all the polymer stuff taking over the world, but yet you ruin history by jacking those guns up. All right, another one here from Jeff Richardson. For sure, enjoy the bonus video. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. It's always nice to see folks that actually do stay till the end of the show. I've been trying to do that, like maybe, if I can come up with something to add on to the show in the end, for those of you that are hardcore in the show, right? That hardcore with the channel here that are sticking around till the very ends of it. Here's love dogs. I love dogs too. You know what? You know what my retirement dog is going to be when I'm home all the time, and then I'm pretty much retired and living what I can from money wise. I'm going to get a pug dog. That's going to be my favorite. You know why? Because I watched that movie Milo and Otis when I was really young, and always loved that dog. All right. I wake up at about 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time and watch you first thing after coffee. I appreciate that. That's really cool. That's why we do this. That's why we're here, is to join you for your coffee and give you some entertainment. That's the main thing that we do here, entertainment. All right. And this one here is from Jeff Richardson. I still would love to buy a set of yours from you. I assume you're talking about the grip someday. The grips. I'll figure if I can figure out. Like, I got a friend, somebody that can ship them off for me, but I just don't really mess with a whole lot of grips these days. Let me know what like the problem with I'm going to tell you this. The problem with these type of grips, for the single action, is the fitting. The fitting is like, because every frame is different. These are copies of the original ones that were off of this one, and this is a Pieta. This My Rooster Shooters is a Pieta one. I'm not sure who else. And then I have a Uberti. Model P. That's a 3840, and this one's 45 long pole. These grips will not fit right on the Uberti. They're slightly different. They won't fit quite right. They fit the Pieta, and you side by side, they're like the same thing. So the single action grips are really difficult. That's usually why I was making them oversized when I was selling them. I was making oversized prints of them, and that was so that you could take them, put them on your frame, and scribe them and fit them. Had to know that going into it. I carry one in myself. We were talking about that. We had somebody actually return a pair because I had somebody return a pair to me, and then we were talking about that. I talked to him about it, and he says, "Yeah, well, some people don't understand how the heck, you got to fit them. I mean, we just can't make them to your frame size, and I think that's the difficult part." 1911 grips are a little bit easier because I could fit them on a 1911 of mine, and pretty much 1911s are, for the most part, across the board for its grips are concerned. So. But yeah, that's always the thing. It's not so much making a buck. It's definitely not making a buck because I never sold any of my grips or anything near some of these other companies that are selling them. Not knocking them, but I mean, some of their grips. I mean, you look at there was some that were really up there. Buffalo Brothers were pretty reasonable for theirs. I think that at the time when I was getting them, they're about $75. Pretty reasonable. And I can't speak enough about Buffalo Brothers. Great company, great product. I think they're offering the best. I think if you're looking for that synthetic ivory, yellow ivory style ones that like the Duke had, Buffalo Brothers would be certainly a company I'd always recommend because I think their price point is good. They're a nice little individual little shop. They didn't grow too big. And their pictures are good. Their pictures are excellent. And I think they made the closest copy I've seen. They didn't look too... I don't know, like CNC'd. I don't like any of the stuff that looks so like when it's referring to the aged ivory grips. When it looks too cookie cuttered, I don't really care for it. All right. We'll figure something out someday for you folks that want some grips. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it because it'd have to be me trying to figure it out, and then getting it shipped out is the hardest part. So I might have to have a friend of mine do it from his place. I don't know. He has a shop in town. All right, Sean Lee. Morning, y'all. Nice looking wood can just make a nice looking wood can just make a rifle, and that was gorgeous. Plus the brass. Two cool rifles for sure. Nice rooster shooter as well. Thank you for that comment. Means you actually was watching till the end. Keith. All right, nice tech tip. Thank you, Keith, again. really awesome to see how many people actually stayed that long through the show. Joe P, my man Joe, so we get coffee for Joe P and all the working stiffs, the 9 to 5ers, the time clock punchers, those that are and have been and retired from it, from the rut, the attrition of life, doing that kind of stuff. You guys are, and all them folks, guys, gals, whatever, make that go around. Definitely, you're the ones that are out there, pulling the weight. Yes, and it's it's always. Where you got the big wigs above with all the money sitting on their big money mattress stuffed with $100 bills and pointing their fingers, and it's all gravy for them because of your hard work. All right, good morning, JW. Super fun to see a rifle on your channel. That's all. Yeah, I'm not a big rifle guy. Me neither. I'm not. Actually, I don't think I do. I own a rifle? Yes, I do. I own a lever action. I own two, actually. I take that back. No, I pump action 22, and I got my buddy's lever action 4440. It's he was selling it. I want to say it's a EMF. Cool rifle. It really is. It's a cool. I mean, you got to kind of have 192 copy if you're into all the John Wayne stuff. It doesn't have the big loop, but I actually grown to not like those. So that's really cool. So, but I own many. My favorite is a 9-pound World War II Enfield with a 10-inch bayonet. That is pretty cool. Actually, there is a rifle that I always wish I actually do want to get and replace some of mine, but right now it just doesn't seem feasible. I have to bench rest it these days due to my advancing age, but it always brings a smile and always gets a thumb up from someone at the range. Yeah. Anytime you bring a cool oldie out like that, definitely it's an eye catcher. DB, top of the morning, and top of the morning to you. Slim Fire here. Good morning, JW. Another awesome video. I love the lever action rifles. I've got two Marlins. Those are good ones. One in 30-30 and 45 long Colt. I always like the model 1873 Winchester too. The Henry you have there is great, and a lot of history with that rifle. Have a good week, and thanks, Slim. Yeah, you know what I was thinking too. It's funny. A lot of the movies they would make a fake Henry. They would remove a forend off of a Yellow Boy or something, and then try to mock it up. But you always can tell because you'll see a loading gate on the side of the receiver. Obviously, the Henry didn't have that. The 1860 Henry. Crazy Scotsman, nothing like carrying a 29. I always enjoy carrying mine in the wintertime in a shoulder rig. I have a outside the waistband holster as well, but it's not the same. Classic shoulder holster carry is much better. Yeah, I mean, when you get a 29, I mean, when I think of a 29, I always think of the 6-inch barrel, dirty hairy gun. Especially it's Clint was what, 6'4" or something like that. The guy is just he's a really tall statured guy, and I mean shoulder holster, man. It made that kind of get up for him was perfect. Somebody like me would be like Rey Mysterio Jr. stepping in a ring with the Undertaker. It just looks like really out of place. The Henry is a masterpiece. I've held a few over the years. Never had an opportunity to purchase or shoot one yet. Thanks for showing the grips at the end. Nice walkthrough. Thank you, Chris Scotsman. I thought you might appreciate that. Honestly, I was thinking about you because I know you've been doing a lot of work at the bench with that stuff and everything. What was I gonna say? Doing things like that is. I do a lot of things on my own. I mean, I am not a gunsmith or whatever. I'm an adventurous person with a screwdriver. I've said that for years, and I just try to figure out how do I make it work for myself to do it. We was talking about literally the finish on that thing. How Cody and I literally did that years ago. Just throwing things together, literally. Squib 1911 says, was the 1990 remake the one with the gas pump tease at the end of the movie? Yes. That's the whole ironic thing about it. It's all about the gas pump. The gas pump issue in that movie is what caused the whole thing to just go to hell. It was all about trying to get to that gas pump, which is really cool. I really like that that movie because I thought it was just for a remake, which remakes are usually not very good, but they seem to have done a really good job with a couple of the Romero films. That was certainly one of the best. I just there is something about it, man. I love that hold up in the farmhouse. The zombies are coming. I wish that movie was longer. It doesn't seem long enough. It did. I mean, Savini himself had a lot more stuff he wanted to do, but they just kept, time crunch, money, like cutting him off at every corner. I just wish that they would have, it's, you look back at some of these films and it's like, gosh, like they would have, why didn't they give these guys more time and money? Yet, when they make one of these other type of movies out there, I'm not going to speak on some of them because I don't want to bash them, but it's definitely not movies that I enjoy. I mean, you got a movie series spanning, what do you got, like 12 movies of the same people racing cars and, doing just things that are just completely not even possible. And you've stretched that along for a dozen plus movies and, there's 3 hours of footage and, just do whatever. But then you got these really cool movies that are like, the storylines and this deserve to be made and given given the resources and time and all that to do it right and good, and it just doesn't. Another movie that I really like that I thought I really wish they would have like done it longer because it really could have been good, which I thought was a sleeper film, was with the late great Robert Redford, which is sad. I can't believe that Robert Redford had passed away. Walk in the Woods with Robert Redford and Nick Nolte. It was one of his last movies he did, and Nolte was perfect in it. So was Redford. Everybody was just perfect in that. You want a good laugh? That's a great movie. That is a great laughing movie. Not necessarily family friendly because of the language, but the language is what makes it somewhat funny. But what a great movie. Walk in the Woods, total sleeper film. Wish that movie could have easily been a 2 hour movie and would have been excellent. Wish they would have done it. Unfortunately, now with Robert Redford gone, there's no chance for a sequel or anything like that, which is a darn shame because those two together in that movie was excellent. Another really shame thing that I felt was kind of a loss, where, I mean, I don't mean it that way, but it was just sad to see another beautiful angel leave the earth. Diane Keaton. Diane Keaton passed away at 79, which to me seems so like, like young in a sense. It's just like, wow, really. One of my favorite movies with her. I mean, obviously she's done a ton of movies, but one of my favorite movies with her, which is actually really a funny movie. Again, another weird, like, why would you like that? And it's a movie called Something's Gotta Give, and it's got her and Jack Nicholson in it. And you know, Jack Nicholson did a couple of these movies later in his life that were really good. They were kind of like ones that kind of flew under the light there, and I thought, that was one of them. The other one is about Schmidt. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, kind of a sad, sad when you see some of these really fine artists leaving, and dying that are, really give so much to the world. Kind of like I'm not a big country music fan, but Toby Keith really did a lot of really awesome stuff. It was sad to see him go so young too. Um, there was a comment here that you commented after the fact because we didn't we'd done the production. The production of the show gets done really quickly during the week because we need to get it ready and set up for, because if not, we're the time crunch at the end of the week to get this thing ready for Saturday really gets difficult. This one here is from Ron, and it says, can you provide some info on the thumbnail? It looks like a 3840 cartridge. Maybe what bullet are you using there? You're referring to the one that we talked about, the titanium hammer, which was a show or so ago. Um, the thumbnail is a rubber bullet or a wax bullet that I have because it's fun to shoot those in your backyard. They really are just powered by a primer, and just you pop cans with them and everything. They sound like a cap gun, maybe a little louder, maybe one of those, maybe as loud as a Greenie Stickum cap from a Shoot and Shell Mattel. All right, so that's what that is. Make them out of wax. You can do it too. Mine are actually got the bullet head on them because that stemmed from me tinkering around with trying to get those to go into lever action. So you can load a whole lever action up with them, and it's even quieter in a lever action because it's a everything's contained in a rifle. And you load up those wax bullets in there, and man, I tell you, it's having you can have a lot of fun in your backyard. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a noise, but not saying that just be careful. But it is safe. We used to do it back home on the island with my Rooster shooter. We used to actually use it for throwing the clays up in the air and shooting them with the wax because you can do aerial shooting without the danger of a big heavy bullet coming down on somebody's head because what goes up must come down. All right. Before we end the show, what we brought out here was the Getaway stuff. Man, the Getaway. We're talking about Steve McQueen, Allie McCraw, Ben Johnson, Sally Struthers, and Al Lettieri. Directed by Sam Peckinpah, the awesome one, not that garbage from the 90s. All right. In the movie The Getaway, Steve McQueen has this shotgun right here. This is a shotgun I have always kept. I have not shot it a whole lot, but I have always kept it. It has not left the collection, mainly because I know I wouldn't get very much for it anyway from a store. I probably would get only like maybe $100 for it. Somebody probably just that's all. And to me, I'd rather keep it for the $100, and everybody should have a shotgun anyway. This is the only shotgun I have, and it's a. This is what he has in it. If you haven't seen The Getaway, I don't know where have you been. McQueen goes into like this sporting goods place, and he's like, I need a shotgun, 12 gauge pump. He goes, how about this one? He goes, yeah, that's fine. Wrap it up. He goes, give me a pack of them double aught buck. And so this is a high standard. This one is an older one for sure. Well, I mean, obviously they're all going to be older. This one's made in Hampton, and it's a model K120. And over here, it's called a Riot 18-7, which I believe what it stands for is 18-inch barrel and maybe 7-round capacity. I could be wrong. I haven't loaded this thing for who knows when. I have not taken out. It's it is old. It rattles. It's got some rattling around, but it still works. Again, I don't abuse it. I certainly when I shoot it, I don't shoot anything heavy out of it. I just shoot some field loads. But again, I don't even remember last time I shot this thing. But yeah, this is what he has. Big old corn cob, forehand. Walnut or something. Not sure exactly what the wood is. I'm not a wood expert, but this one here has got the bead sight. I've seen some with the rifle sights. First time I ever, because I didn't know what it was in the movie that he had. First time I ever saw one, finally when I figured it out later on when I saw one, I still really didn't know exactly what it was, but I saw one when I first moved out here. It was at one of those shows, and I saw it from distance. I could see this. You can always tell with this corn cob forehand on it because it's like a lot larger than most, and it's a really short, compact shotgun. It really is short. Once I owned one, I realized how he was able to just like put his coat over it and walk around with it and stuff like that. It's really a compact shotgun. But I saw one at the show, man, and I tell you, you know what? And before I could even go over there and look at it, a fella bought it. These do seem like whenever they're up there or for sale, they do seem like they get snatched up real quick. I've not seen a whole lot of them. I was in a pawn shop much later down the line, saw this thing. They were really cool about it because they let me put it on layaway and gave me a discount on it. That's rare, by the way. Any pawn shop or shop that lets you do that, that's a place you want to shop. If they're willing to discount the thing and let you put it on layaway, that's a good shop. That means they care about your business and they want to help you out. Just saying, just throwing that out there because that is usually not something that happens. happens. Or if it's happening to you, they're taking care of you. That's for sure. So don't ever take that for granted. But anyway, they treated me really well on it, and this was a long time ago. I picked this up. I picked it up for fairly cheap too. If I'm not mistaken, it was like 300-400 bucks, something like that. By today's standards, I guess. I don't know. I've not priced these things out in a long time. Yeah, I intend to keep this one no matter what. Try to. It's only chambered for 2 3/4. It's old. You know it's old when it's just that's the chambering on it. But that's what he has in The Getaway. The Getaway is such an awesome film. And the other thing he's carrying is if you look at it, he's carrying an old original Colt 1911. When we mean an original 1911, we mean not an A1. He's got an original one. There's no scalloping on the frame. You got the horrible hammer bite and everything. So that's what he's got is a sidearm. Because that's what he uses to buy his shotgun in not a very good way to buy it. But you know what? Here's a funny tip on that. When he shoots his, to my understanding, it's not his 1911 because I think what the rumor was they couldn't get these things to work really well with blanks, so they replace them with a like a Star 1911 lookalike. It was a 9mm. So interesting. And when he blasts Alatari for the first time, because he doesn't, I guess I don't know if he realized it or not, but Alatari's got the body armor and he's shooting them. It's kind of a weird, again, Sam Peckinpah is like kind of like the way he filmed things, because it's like boom, and then like I don't know, like there's a weird sequence of like the recoil or whatever when he's blasting with the 1911. But yeah, from what I understand, it's like it's actually they replaced it with a Star pistol or something else. It's not actually the 1911 he's got. So another strange piece in that movie is when they're in the end, when they're escaping and they're getting out through the side of the windows or whatever, or the side of the hotel or that motel where they're at. I think it's Alatari's character that I haven't seen the movie in a while, and he sees him and he starts shooting at him. There's a scene where it looks like McQueen got shot because he cringes backwards, and I there's something on his jacket. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what they were, if there was something that they were gonna do and they scrapped it. But then obviously McQueen returns fire, obviously ending Alatari's character, and and then ended up getting on that truck and heading on down to Mexico. But strange, there's that little strange kind of part in that. But what an awesome movie! Really, really a good movie. It's one of McQueen's best movies. There's some other ones, but I tell you, that one is loaded with action. Because you could arguably say, Bullet too. Bullet is good. I like Bullet, but Bullet is a lot of just slow moving. It's just one of those, and he doesn't really get into. It's more on a, I guess, realistic side. But if you want to slam bang, drag him out, punch him out, action, man, The Getaway is your film, because I tell you, there's so much action with this thing right here and this pistol. What a great movie. Anyway. Thanks for hanging out. I figured you might enjoy talking a little bit about this stuff here and bringing it out, a little bit of story and how I got that thing. And I've always had it in a collection, still kicking around here and everything like that. So also, I would just want to talk a little bit about friendship. Back home, if you guys saw my video on Don't Pull Nails with That, which was in the link on the description. I've been leaving it in the descriptions of these things for anybody that's actually still here watching this. The link called Don't Pull Nails with That is a story about friendship on the island. There's a buddy of mine that I remember from the island, always will. He was a good friend of mine. I worked a construction job with him, did a lot of hunting excursions with him, hung out with him a lot. He was also responsible. We used to get together and film a lot of crazy videos and stuff like that. And a lot of the ideas were coming out from his brain, and really we had a tremendous amount of fun together, just doing stuff, and really a good time. What a good friend! When you become friends with people and you just click together, and you always remember them. You always remain friends with them. I've got friends out here that are really important to me, and back home there's friends, like he's definitely one of them. A good friend is definitely important. A good friend is going to stick by your side. They're not going to do things to you that irritate you or keep picking at you because it's fun for them, maybe not fun for you. They don't get it, and then all of a sudden you don't talk to them anymore, and you're like wonder why. Gee, what a concept. My friend Scotty is a good friend. He's had a rough road. It sucks to hear that, but I hope he's doing well. I hope you're doing good. And always remember him because he taught me a lot about construction too. When I was working with him during that construction, framing job, and all that kind of stuff, we had a lot of good times. Um, it taught me a lot about different stuff and how to do that kind of thing. So, which has helped me out in life a lot. And that hammer that I bought was because of him, because that was something he introduced me to. And I thought, well, now when I wanted to buy one, I was like, you know what? I know what hammer I'm going to buy. So, uh, really good stuff. Always, when you make friends and you know they're your friends, and the older you get, the harder it is to mesh with friends. And so, definitely, always remember that. Another thing, out here, my friend Silva, my best friend out here, absolutely, hands down. So thank you for being my friend and always being there for me. And I'm always there for him. So anyway, I wanted to leave you with that, and we'll see you next week.